So, who here has done a podcast before? You done a podcast before? Were you a guest on somebody else, or you have your own?
No, I was just a guest. I've been trying to set up my own, but like, I'll be kind of too busy, to set up like meetings, in a certain place to be in one place at one time. But I did one at the KTSU radio station. I did one with the church.
What is something that holds you back to start your podcast? Is it equipment, or is it this, or you want it to look good?
It's really like when I first started, I wanted to already have the couch set up, the mics, everybody already talking. Like I just want the setup to be there. Like once I start, I already want to have it set up when I start. I ain't just trying to start from the bottom like everybody. I want to have it already there.
You just want to get there, sit down, and not worry about anything.
So you can book it with him. You got a full studio.
Mm-hmm. But every time I tell people, because they see the whole equipment and everything is so professional, and people want to start, like you said, I want to start from there. But then when you start working with somebody and you start telling them the prices, they're like, damn, that's the pricey or this and that. That's why I always tell people, you don't have to start this way. You can always start at home. You have a phone already in your pocket. You can just press record. On Amazon, you can buy just little things, a little light, little tripod, so you can start somewhere. Because your phone is freaking amazing. These iPhones are just, damn.
I got a PC and a webcam, a mic, all that. I got everything set up. The stream, like I got, I got everything set up, link everything. I actually streamed and everything. I've been streaming, but I hope when school started again, I had so much stuff started coming. Not enough time no more.
Yeah, and that's the number one thing too with our clients. Like when we sit down and consult them, that's the time, because they're business owners and they want to create their own podcast show. They're like, hey, but I don't got time. So that's why when we consult them, like you have to find a gap of time where this is like, oh damn, this is this hour where I can do it, and gap that time. Like this is gonna be your time. Either they're gonna do it once a month, 2 times a month. There's some that do it 4 times a month. The ones that they do want to grow and they want to make sure that they're consistently. But pretty much everybody that I've seen, it's 2 times a month. They're like, hey man, we want to do a podcast 2 times a month, but for 6 months.
And that's why Adam 22 and Say Cheese, and then maybe splitting them into clips, and then we dropping the clips.
Yeah, the reels.
Then they'll drop the whole interview.
Yep. Those reels are very important. Like when we do the podcast, the different kind of clients, they pick a different one, and there's some of them want the most of the clips. So out of the whole hour, they're like, man, I want this. I want to pick this one because it has 10 reels. So out of the whole hour, we'll create 10 reels out of the whole 10 of the whole hour, and we'll just send them to them. We'll send them the video and the audio. Not the same. We have a packet, dude. We send everything the same day, just like Amazon, same day delivery. But that's because there's nothing on it. It's just the whole hour podcast. We send you that and the audio, and you're good to go. So you make sure you go and pick out the reels and you do it yourself. And we find out that a lot of people like that because it's a basic packet, and they're like, oh, it's affordable. It's $2.99. I'm like, oh shit, I can pay for that. But you're gonna have to do your reels yourself. And if you want a different packet where you want reels or you want to customize, that's when we sit down and consult with you to make sure that that's what you want. That's something that as a business owner I learned with my business partner. Sometimes we wanted to push the people like, you gotta start your podcast show, you gotta do this. No, you gotta listen to the people. You gotta listen to them because you don't know if that's what they want. That's not the only thing we do. We are very content creative. If they don't want podcasts, there are some people that we have, they just come in, they use the teleprompter and they just do reels. That's it. They don't want to do a podcast. They just sit down and they do 25, 30 podcast reels for a whole month. That's fine. They don't want to sit down and talk for an hour. There's some other people that they might want to mix of it. That I want to do a podcast with the reels, plus I want to sit down and reel. I want a lot of content because I know that this month I'm out of vacation. My social media manager has a lot of things to post. So that's why when you listen to people, you're like, okay, this is all different people. I can customize for all the different kind of owners out there. I started learning that because when I started just pushing podcasts, yes, that's the number one thing we do. There's people that they don't want that. They might want a video production. They don't want a podcast. They just want to do like a video production interview, a different style. We can do that as well. Or you want drones. You want real estate investor that want drones out there. We can do that as well. So anything that has to do with like the creativity of any kind of video content, that's what we do. That's what we do. But I mean, podcast, it's good for you to start. Even like I said, even if it doesn't start with the high quality things, it's a matter of using your voice, the power of your voice. So the power of your voice matters. You know it. And something we're just quiet. And while you are using it on social media, who knows out there? There might be that person that listens to you. They're like, man, this person got it. Let me reach out to them. Maybe this other person is in a higher end. Maybe they want to hire you to speak at somewhere at school or whatever it is that they see you because you're using your voice for it. And we're so quiet over here. Like God gave us talents, skills, and gifts. So man, you put them out the world, man. Stop being afraid of like who's gonna judge you, who's not gonna like you. Who cares, man? People are gonna hate you. People are not gonna like you. Your parents are gonna tell you, hey man, work hard, work this, trust me, get 3 jobs. I remember my mom said, you gotta have 3, 4 jobs. I'm like, for what? I'm gonna be tired as hell. I ain't gonna have a life if I got 3, 4 jobs. And I did, point in my life, I did have 3 jobs. That's just crazy. I was cleaning churches. I was working at a gas station at 3 in the morning, cooking tacos. And the other one, for what it was, man, it's like 3 jobs. It's horrible, dude. But that's when my story happened. Like, I went to do it because of a situation, not because I wanted to. It's like I need to do it. But I understand on these times that we're living right now, it's hard. Data doesn't lie, numbers don't lie. Inflation, it keeps on going up. It's gonna keep on going up. You see it when you go to the store, when you go to Walmart, you see the numbers. Like, hell, the eggs. That's the number one thing everybody complains. Damn, the eggs are so expensive because inflation keeps on going up. But there's no an excuse for you to not go after your dreams. Either if it's podcast or it's your career, whatever that you gotta go through, go for it. Because life is always gonna happen. Life is not gonna be like God is gonna tell you, man, this is gonna happen to you next Tuesday. No, man. Next Tuesday, man, your tire blows up. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But you have a meeting at 5. What are you gonna do? Now, that's the communication part too as well. Like that happened to me. Damn, but I communicated. This happened, I can still make it, but it's gonna be a little bit late. They'll understand. But if you don't push that forward, then that client or whoever you're gonna be there, they're not gonna trust the Nike. And I totally understood that on the business side and not only in the business side, when people trust and like you, doesn't matter what the name of your business and what it's called, they're gonna go for it. Just like Pepsi and Coke. Man, when I go buy a Pepsi, man, I like the commercials. You know, the commercials they do and shit. I was like, man, I'm gonna go grab myself a Pepsi. But they're very creative on the brand. The same with you. Whatever thing you do, just be creative on your own way. So people can be like, hey, no podcast, but he's doing a side, this different, cool. I want that. Oh, he's creating a drink, but he's doing it this way. You see it like Prime, Logan, it's how they did it. They were creative, and they're still being creative. They're now they're making luncheonly or whatever it's called, the little box. I don't know if you've seen it. That's what I'm saying, that never stay behind. Always use that, your voice around all of that stuff. That's why you have a podcast. That's why you have like a little talk show. You bring guests. You give an opportunity to somebody else to have a voice. A smaller business. But they're like, damn, I want to be in your podcast. Yeah, come on over. Like, you don't have to charge them anything. Just have them, give them an opportunity for him to be in the podcast or her and show the business abroad. Because by you doing that, next time they're going to hire you. Them themselves are like, damn, he did a good job. And then this time I want to do it again, but I'm willing to pay for you because you did this for me. Sometimes you gotta go out there and do things for free at the beginning so you can show what you have. Because I cannot just go and be like, hey man, I do a podcast and then I don't have anything to show and prove. They ain't gonna pay you. But when I have proof and you have proof that you did it, now when you go out there, whatever business or career you have, you're like, man, I got proof of what I did. You know, I work on the oil and gas, but I got proof I'm good at this, of data numbers. Boom. Now somebody else is gonna hire you because you're good at that. They're like, oh shit, we're ready to pay you more because you got this. That's the same on the business side of being an entrepreneur. I got proof and showing this. So that if you ever have a chance to actually start a podcast, do it. Just press record on your phone, man. That's okay. Just take your phone out, start recording. Don't be afraid of it. Ask questions. Never. No one's gonna come and save you, man. No one's gonna come and save you. Only God is gonna save you, but you still gotta put in work. You still gotta take action consistently. I was telling him in the other class, I told him that I started going to church, and yesterday I decided to go, but that was God telling me to go. And the whole message was for me. That like hit me. Because the message that they said in there, I was like, it hit me hard. I even cried in the church, and I was like, man, I'm doing it. That's when I said life happens. You're like, man, I'm doing a lot of things all over the place, and I'm not really focused on truly what I really need to be doing. What I really, that talent, that not the talent, but that gift that God gave you, that He's like, why are you not using that? I gave it to you for a reason. You started something and then you stopped. Then what happened? And that's when you figure out, it doesn't matter if you go to church or not, but you know it yourself. Sometimes you even know the answers yourself. We make it so hard on ourselves sometimes. We go around our answers to be like, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go this way. That's wrong, because you already know, like, you question yourself. You're like, you know that you're supposed to be doing that, but you don't do it. Trust me, because I go the same way. I'm like, damn, I needed to do that, but I wanted to do it this way because of that person or that person. Man, don't do that. When you know yourself and you're like, holy crap, that's the answer, let me go do it. I laugh at myself when I'm praying and I'm talking to God, and I'm like, holy crap, I already answered all of the questions and all of the things that I needed. Like, I can do it myself. I don't even need to ask for help. But sometimes we just make it so hard on us that, like, damn, can you get tense and you're like, what do I do and this and that, and then you end up not doing anything. But I mean, like I said, on the podcast side, guys, I mean, I have a studio right now in the Galleria area. We just moved. This is going to be our third month, November, and location matters. Location truly matters. Because my older location was in Paimon, 290 in Paimon. That's where we started. And now we're in the location of Galleria area. And a lot of people come in. And now I understand the power of trusting and like what I said. The studio was not even done, bro. None, guys, none of it. It was just the point it was. Clients were coming in and saying, we're ready to do podcasts. Now I'm like, man, the studio's not done. It's going to take about 3 more weeks to finish the aesthetics. They still were doing podcasts without no aesthetics, just like that. That's when I started seeing, it's not the name Panorama. Our name is called Panorama Ranch Studio. It's not the name. It's because they like myself and they like Miguel. Because we put ourselves out there, communicate right, and they didn't really matter. They didn't really care. I was laughing at them. I was like, why do you want to do a podcast when there's no aesthetics, anything yet? I was like, it's okay. I need the content.
Did you always have that space? Was it always easy for you? Was life always easy for you?
Nah, man, life was not easy, man. I'm always authentic. Like, when we started the first podcast studio, it didn't meant to be a podcast studio for a business. That podcast studio was for me and my business partner to create content. But it ended up being a business, and it's called Panorama Brand Studio. But through those first 6 months, man, it was good and high-end big business owners paying this and that. But then there was a point where, boom, it was flat, where it was 3 in the morning, and me and my business partner were like, dude, I don't think we're going to make it. In 6 months, either we're going to swing or sink. What do you think? Should we just, call it off and go back? Because I have my own business doing just live streaming. The live streaming is picking up again a lot. So I was doing live streaming by myself, my clients. He was doing video production. So at that time, he was like, and I motivated him and inspired him. I said, dude, we can't do it. We already started something 6 months. I know it's hard and tough, dude, but we got to go. We got to keep on going. So I motivated and stuff. So he's like, let's go. So we just plan something out, figure it out. We pivot to see what was the things that we were doing right and wrong. And then from there, just started picking up again, just little bit by little bit, little bit by little bit. And then that was the point where we're like, God is always going to be there. Doesn't matter if it's the business, yourself, anything, because at those moments when I was low, man, my car got repossessed, my financial was bad, I wasn't all the way low. I didn't even know what to. I think I was in my room. I didn't even get out of my room. I was like, holy crap, man, God, what's going on? And he always came through. God always came through. Even at the last minute, he came through. Something came up, and there was a gig that I had to do on the side, because that's the number one thing. When you have a business and you have a business partner, it's not easy. You really have to ask questions, a lot of questions to see if they fit for you. Your business partner is going to fit. You just don't want to go, hey, Jamie, tomorrow let's start podcasting. Because if I don't communicate with him and he does something bad and then I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing, he's not, then we're going to hate each other. I don't even want to talk to him anymore. I don't want that. I didn't want that. So the communication with me and my business partner was Panera Bread, like for a whole month. And then he's like, dude, I like the idea. I already asked the questions. You're good at this, what you do, because I'm going to build a relationship, going to events and talk and bringing people out that energy. I bring it up. He's the technical side. He's behind. The website looks good. Man, the prices are good. He's that side. So
I have a question.
Yes.
And I hate that.
Oh, no, you
But you did so well in my last class. You're so amazing. Because since this class is business professional, like they literally do podcasts, literally for their, right? This class is all about speaking and about communication.
Oh, okay.
What was it difficult? Was it hard for you to? I'm not gonna say bug. I'm gonna say stay consistent with your business partner. Say, hey, look, I know it's hard, but we got to meet it. We have to talk. We have to communicate. We have to figure it out. Like I can do it on my own, and you do it on your own, or you know what? Let's meet up, even if it's once a week, even if it's twice a week. I care. You care. We both care. So we have to communicate. How difficult? Because a lot of people are. Sometimes it's difficult to speak up, and sometimes it's difficult to feel uncomfortable, or sometimes it's difficult to be pushy, like you talked about the jobs, right? With Indeed, like you call them like, hey,
oh yeah, man,
right? Can you talk about that just a little bit? Because what you said in my last class was so pivotal and important because that speaks volumes in this class. You have not because you ask not, right? So a lot of times we are afraid to speak up, right? What can you talk about that? Because business ain't gonna run itself.
No.
Right? And communication is the key to literally everything in life. Literally everything. Most relationships fail because of lack of communication. Most teamwork doesn't work out because of lack of communication. Most everything in life, most businesses don't prosper because of lack of communication. So how important was that to have an open line of communication with your business partner and your clients and everybody else and these jobs, the whole situation on that communication aspect?
Yeah, guys, communication is key, man. Number one, if you don't have that communication with it, your mom, your dad, your business, your partner, like me and my partner have that communication so well that right now, before I got here, I didn't even say over there. He texted me, he said, hey, dude, go kill it today. You got it.
There you
See
go.
how much, like, when I feel down or something, he'll text me. It doesn't matter if it's 2 o'clock in the morning. He's like, hey, Jesus, I know this today was bad with the client, didn't show up and they say this and that. He's like, oh man, how can we, we reunited and like, what can we do? So communication always good on the business side, on the personal side, because with your parents, your wife, your husband, all of that stuff, like I said, communication, if you don't have it within yourself, everything is gonna lack down. Like he was saying, man, when my car got repossessed and all that stuff, and I was down and I had to pivot, and me and my business partner, we understood Panorama Verse Studio is our business. But if we don't have any clients, we both looking to do gigs on the side, but we understood. We didn't step on each other's toes. It's like, that's fine, dude. You gotta pay your bills. I gotta pay my bills. I'm gonna go outside if I get gigs. Go do it, bro. And you say to him, you do it because no one's gonna come and save you. So when the bigger projects and everything came from Panorama, then we were both together in here. But at that time when he met, man, that was the time where I was already like I said, I couldn't get out of my room. I did maybe 100 applications on Indeed to look for a job because I used to be a teacher as well. I worked for 5 years. So I put in applications for that, put applications for content creator, a lot of things. And I went out there, man. I put the application and I called and I was like, hey, man, it's been 2 days. I haven't got a response. And you said that it's immediate work, that you need somebody. Okay. They're like, oh, wait, because we have a lot of other more applications to look at. I was like, but how did they call you? How did they give their opportunity to be like, hey, or they show up? They're like, no, but I am. So why am I waiting for? And that was the only thing they were saying. No, we have to wait. The person that is in charge has to go through all the application. Then it has to go through a process. And I'm like, man, the rent ain't waiting. It's like, why am I waiting for a process when I need the job? Give it to me, man. I'm there. I'm showing up. And I went through all those applications. I didn't show up to some of them and say, hey, I'm here. I'm like, it's been a week. And you told me a week. That's why I'm here. And then a week, that's consistency and persistency. When you don't do that, nothing's going to happen. But see, what happens there too is not only that it's consistent persistency, I let that happen. So when you let that happen, you get to a point where you're surrounded on the corner and you're like, shit, what do I do? Now I got to go look for a job because why didn't I actually put myself and be like, let me go hard and go out there with the clients. Let me go out there and either you're making calls or social media to get more clients. I let myself go. And that's to the point where you're like, I need a job. And that's okay because all of us are going to go through. We're going to go through a point where you're going to fail at something, you gotta fail, man. Fail is the best thing to go. Fail, and fail fast, man. Fail fast, get up, and figure out that mistake so you won't make that happen again. So God is so huge, man. I was like, man, I need a job, man. I was like, nah, the rent is paid up, but I still got all these other bills. And then, boom, gigs started coming, not gigs, clients started coming into Panorama Rap Studio. And now I didn't even have the time to go get a job. And like now the system started working with clients coming in. Yeah, it wasn't like, damn, it's a lot of money, but it was paying these bills, it was paying this, it was paying that. Work again, but I'm like, okay, all of the bills are paid. What do I gotta do? What do we gotta do to actually get these kind of clients? That's the other thing right there that me and Miguel communicated on, analyzing who are we going, what niche are we going? Because yes, in podcasts, the niche can do everybody. Because I mean, podcasts for everybody. I say you should have a podcast.
So, question: you're telling me that because you was obedient to the spirit inside of you, telling you to get up and do something. In the meantime, meaning that everything don't always go as planned. You may want to go right, and God's telling you to go left, but because you was obedient and you went left, God makes you go right anyway. That's basically what you're saying, right? Because sometimes we have to do what we got to do. We're adults, right? You have a daughter. You have a 12-year daughter, correct?
Yeah, 12-year
right?
daughter. Yeah.
So you got to do what you got to do regardless, right? But you didn't wait. You didn't put yourself down to the point where you wasn't enthusiastic about doing what you got to do in the meantime. That you was like, this gonna work. It's just no. Come on, hey, I'm applying for this job. It's like, what's up? Hey, I'm calling you. What's up? I'm like, I know things are gonna turn around, but in the meantime, I still got to do what I got to do because I'm responsible. I got things to take care of. I have to handle my business, right? But faith is the things not seen but hoped for. So if you know that it's gonna turn around, if whatever is guiding you, whatever it is, if it's telling you, trust me, go over here and apply, trust me, go over here, whoever you serve or whoever, is in charge of your life, sometimes it's just a test. Are you going to listen to what I'm telling you? You could pack your bags and be ready to move somewhere and get a phone call the day you finna walk out and be like, oh, you got the job back, et cetera, et cetera. So that's what I take from that because of your obedience, because your diligence, because your, let's go, let's do it. I ain't got time to be waiting. I ain't got time to sit here and just, it turned back around for you exactly where you wanted it to be with your own business.
Oh, yeah. And now, like I was telling the other class too, right? Like y'all here in class, make sure that when there's a project or anything, work as a team, man. When you work as a team, everything's going to come easier. The results are going to be better because you know that she's better at what she does than you're not better at what you do. So when you create something and it's faster, the things that you're going to work, you're like, okay, let's get to a group, 2-3 people. I know what to do. Let's go. I know it's done. It has to be done in 2 weeks. Maybe you finish it in 4 days. But you're persistently doing it. You're like, okay, I don't understand this. Well, let me ask Jim. Let me ask him why is this, that. I always communicate because, hey, you might think that he's always right. You might be right and he might be wrong. And that's normal. And that's are the things that as being a teacher or something, sometimes when I was a teacher, I told the kids, I was doing little kids, 6, 7, I told them, hey man, some of y'all know you're small, y'all might be right. And some things that I'm saying, y'all might be, and these kids are smart, man, these 7 or 8-year-olds. I was pouring to them kidpreneurship. I was pouring to them for them to have a business so they can start at a young age. And 3 of them out of the class, this was a numbers game. 3 of the little kids came to me and said, hey, Mr. Jesus, I'm good at drawing. Can you look at my drawings? I'm like, damn, the 8-year-old man, he knew how to draw. He's like, what can I do with this? I want to start a subscription. I'm like, man, he was already on a roll. And I just gave him the wisdom. It's like, hey, man, you should start doing this. You should start doing like a little Zoom call, coaching the kids how to draw this cartoon people. Charge them $10 a month. Blah, blah, blah. He liked that. He was all excited. When his mom came, I talked to his mom, and I said, hey, man, your son he's brilliant. Have you paid attention? The mom didn't even pay attention what he was doing. That's another thing. As parents, or not even as parents, as us, as young adults, and we have our parents. I put my parents on game too. I was like, hey, man, mom, you're good at this. What are you doing? And the excuses of our parents is, I feel old. I'm tired. I told them, man, My mom is what, 62, I think. I don't even know her age. And I'm like, you ain't home? I said, you need to start working out. And look at that, man. She's turning around. Now she works out every day. Now she's doing going on YouTube and trying to make sure that she cooks better for my dad. And I was like, see, things like that, when you don't speak and communicate, it's never going to happen. So that's why it doesn't matter if it's old, small, a little kid. I love the energy that gives me is the kids, man. I've done a lot of things for the kids, for the youth. I spoke on churches. Got an opportunity to speak here again too. I'm doing it again Wednesday. So all of the things that I can provide and give the knowledge and wisdom to the kids, especially you guys, because I mean, you have the future as well. Who knows what you're going to do next? You got to go out there and do it. And these little kids, like I said, 8, 10, 11, and 12, there's a little girl in Sugarland. She owns her own bakery. She's 14 now, 2 years in the game. Owns her bakery. This girl came to me and said, hey, Mr. Jesus, this is my business card. Let me know, call me. I want to give you some free cakes so you can taste them. I mean, she gave me the whole pitch. 12-year-old girl. I'm like, this thing, I wish that they would have been teaching me this when I was in school. I went to college too. I dropped out of UH because it wasn't for me. I studied restaurant management. I actually did it. My dream was to run a restaurant. I did it. I ran a restaurant. I worked 8 years of the restaurant business. That's where I learned my leadership. That's where I learned how to speak. That's where I learned how to be a storyteller. But I became an alcoholic. See, it's like, oh, so good, Jesus. But boom, I became an alcoholic. Sunday to Sunday, I was drinking. Sunday, you name it, man. Like you see the parties in the movies, down the clubs and the street clubs and I did all that in my 8 years. I did all that. So that when people are like, hey, you want to go clubbing now? Like I do bar hopping now, but just because I like going to bar. Even though I don't like to drink that much anymore, I go have a Topo Chico when I go to a bar, maybe a little whiskey. But just me to just rephrase myself, like, man, it's not only about work, but you gotta go out there and have your fun too. You gotta get lit too. It's not only about just making to this, but it's better to work right now. So in the long years, you don't have to work so hard. Like you do it right now. Make everything count. Doesn't matter when the people's like, oh yeah, the age doesn't matter. Doesn't. But if you can start right now and build yourself consistently, knowing that, like he said, God is going to put you through a lot of tribulations. He wants to see if you're ready. Because if he wants to give you the next thing and he's like, oh man, he failed A, B, and C, he's not ready for D. It's too hard for her, it's too hard to him. So why am I going to give it to him? I'm going to give it to him because he's ready. He's consistently building his stuff. And it doesn't matter what it is. People are like, I want to be in entrepreneurship. I want to have a career. Doesn't matter what path you go, man. I have friends that started having very good careers, 20 years. They left their jobs and now they own their own business. So it goes the other way around. You can be an entrepreneur. You at the end of the day, like, I really don't want to do it. The money's good, but I really want to work for somebody. I really want to be an entrepreneur. I just want to work for this business and make the money, and I get my things, and I'm happy. I'm working Monday to Friday. Weekends are good. I'm good. So it doesn't matter if you're making $35,000, $100,000 a year. Or the matter is how you feel. What makes you happy to do the thing. That's what it matters. It's like we following everybody. Oh man, but he's making $5 million a month. How's he doing that? I want to do that. I want to make that. Yeah, it's okay, and it's good to have those big dreams because you have to have them, and make sure you go after them because money is not the root of our evil. Money gives you options to help, man. To help your family, man. What happened if your mom gets sick and you gotta take them to just a regular hospital? She's gonna die there in the seat because you gotta wait until they get her in the emergency. But if you have money, that ain't gonna happen. I have a friend that's what he always tells me. He's like, do it for the family. Because he's like, I'm in a position now that look, my mom got. I want to pay like $80,000, and they took her like this. I'm like, holy crap, I cannot do that. It's like, yeah, but that's one of the things. It's like, think about the family, think about the truly things that really matter. That money that you're going to make is going to give you options. I know that your mom, your friends will tell you, why do you want to make all this money? They don't see it. They don't see it why you're doing it. Because you have your own purposes. And the purposes are going to take you to many different things in life. And that's the best thing in life, man. To communicate right, to be out there right, and go for it, man. Go for it. Like I said, this was an opportunity he gave me. It was God's. Because he reached out to me and said, hey, man, you want to come in Monday and Wednesday? I'm going to say, no, I didn't have nothing in my calendar Monday and Wednesday. But I'm going through a lot of stuff that I'm like, it's not the right moment. But then when that message hit me on Sunday, I was like, nah, man, God telling me something that I gotta analyze myself, right? That's where I'm at in my moment, right? I just turned 39, and I'm like, man, I'm pretty much all over the place. But God is telling me, and you started doing a lot of things with the kids. I got even awards for being a kidpreneur mentor. I did big events with the kids in City Center with moms, and we brought rappers from ATL, LA. I did it with moms, and I was so happy to do that. Like my energy was out there, but life happens. That's what I'm telling you. When life happens, all of the things that the talent, the gifts that God gave you, they kind of disappeared. And years pass, and then you're like, God comes back to you. He's like, hey, Jesus, what happened, man? What happened? That's where you gotta get back up, and that's where you really truly gotta analyze yourself and communicate with your inner peace, your mind, body, soul, and spirit, and go for it, man. Go for it.
Thank you so much, Ms. Jesus. First of all, any questions for Jesus before we close? Any questions? Any questions?
How did you know you only wanted to do podcasts? Did you just notice you were very well speaking in front of a crowd, so you just wanted to keep doing that?
No, when my ex-wife left me and she took my daughter to Mexico, and I didn't get to see her for 2 years, I put my mindset of going out to work out every day instead of drinking. I said, I'm gonna go work out. At that time when I was working out, God was telling me, you need to use your voice. You need to tell the people that what you're going through, what you're feeling right here. And I started doing pre-recording my videos on the phone. And it started like that, just pre-recording. And then live streaming came up with Facebook when it just barely came out. And I just started motivating, inspiring people. And it took the road from there. And then I was like, oh man, I got a voice, I got power. Why can I not help other men or other women that are going through, single women that have babies that are going through, or single male that are going through, male that only have daughters with it. So I started just learning, and all the knowledge that God was giving it to me, I was like, let me take action. Let me go to masterminds and learn more about it. And it just got to me, and I started going to schools and the churches and speaking to that, and I love it. But the kids stuff and the young, like you guys, I love it. I think that's where God is feeding me back to it. He's like, man, time is ticking. And you did it, and you were doing it right. Yeah, I know I gave you the time to see you were ready for it, but it seems like you were not. But you need to come back and do that. And then, boom, and an opportunity comes over here. God knows the right time.
Any other questions? Question? Sure. I'm going to piggyback to what he said real quick. So, as a rules, passing around. I'll give you an example of what I said earlier about listening to your intuition. Use that word, intuition. Y'all ever feel like your gut is telling you something? You know, you driving on the road and it's telling you out of nowhere, like you got 2 directions to get to school, and it's telling you go this way, but you always go this way. Y'all ever get that feeling where I don't know why I just right, and then you go and you get to school and you find out it was a big wreck, right, and somebody died, right, and that happens just like yesterday, right. My cousin, she was having a little, she's older, like 16, something like that, right. And she was having something at her church. And instead of going to our church, my parents wanted me to go. I was like, I'm going to go. But I kind of didn't want to go at first. Something was just telling me to go. I was like, I'm going to just go, right? So I went to this church, and it was a pastor there that I didn't know. It wasn't the pastor of the church. It was a visiting pastor. That visiting pastor was one of my homeboys from childhood. We grew up in the same neighborhood, literally. Haven't seen this dude preach. I know him, right? Have you heard of Pastor West? Anybody? Pastor West, church with our walls. He got really popular, right? Anyway, so his son is the pastor. He comes in, right? He gives a whole sermon. Sermon was fire, right? And it's exactly what I needed to hear, right, for myself. He went to church yesterday. I'm not up here preaching. I'm just giving you an example of what intuition does for you. He was at church yesterday. Whatever he needed to hear, he heard, right? It could be that phone call. It could be that one person to get in your nerves but all the time, but you should feel the need to pick up that one time that's going to bless your game, right? Is there one route that you didn't want to take, but this way you took that's going to bless your game? Follow your gut, follow your intuition, right? You never know where it's going to lead you. Anybody that is passionate about something and really want to become something high in life, discipline is going to get you there. Period. I don't care what you say. Anybody that wants to be on TV, it's like 1%. You'll get there with discipline. If you don't have discipline, it ain't going to happen. Anything you want to do, you want to be this big baseball player, you want to be this big artist, you want to be whatever you want to be, you can do it. But I promise you, without discipline, you probably won't get there. And if you have to have some type of I'm not gonna say spirituality, but some type of understanding with thyself and awareness to say, all right, well, maybe I need to do this and maybe I need to do that. Follow that. Always follow your gut, right?